Found it. Okay. Share screen. Okay, can you see my screen again? We're good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, what I was saying, we can rank photos so that you can just see certain ones, and that's really helpful. Instead of deleting photos, you're basically sorting for just the good ones, and that allows you to speed up your process. So like, for example, oh, and this is Adobe Lightroom. You can open it the same way you open Photoshop. Then you go File, Import, and then this is how you get photos from your computer onto Lightroom. So here's a series of photos that I imported. Say I like this one here. I haven't edited all of them because it takes a long time. So if you press 1, then it gives it 1 star. And now I can go over here to where it says filter and turn that to rated. So now all of the ones that have a 1, a 2, a 3 star will be what I see. If I can click on it, rated. So now only the good ones are showing up. Now I've already edited a lot of these, but I can kind of just go randomly through them. Okay, so this one I might notice that I need to lighten it a little bit. So I'm under the Develop tab up here at the top. And then this, I like this a little bit better than Photoshop just because everything is in one place. So it's a lot more user-friendly, says what it does, and you can just drag it and see the effects. Whereas Photoshop tends to be, all the stuff is kind of hidden, or you have to do 3 steps or click on some menus, and there's lots that it can do, which is good in some cases, but sometimes you just want to do some basic edits. Okay, so I believe this is the histogram up here, kind of shows where your darks are. You can like raise or lower them. This would be like your medium values, and there's not many whites, so that's why that's so low. The clarity, you can soften a photo, so this one looks very, very, like the edges are not well defined. And then all the way up to like all the way clear, this tends to be all of her, like even just different features on her face are more pronounced. So like, and you can see the difference with the clarity being turned down, it sort of smooths everything out. So it just depends on like what type of a photo you're editing. I wanted this to have kind of a grungy feel, so I increased the clarity on almost all of them. Okay, there was contrast, exposure, just real basic edits. And then say there's like too many highlights, you can bring down the highlights a little. Sometimes I like to just start by hitting auto, and then I just see what it does and go from there. So from auto, I see it needs a little bit more contrast, maybe brighten it. Okay. Ooh, down here, luminance is really cool. So you can use this to eliminate the look of noise. There's not a lot of noise in this picture. It looks pretty high quality because I was using a very low ISO, like 100. So, but you can see if I like increase the luminance, it'll sort of like smooth out what it interprets it as noise. So if you want to reset it, you can just click right here and it'll put the photo back to its original way. Or, I'm going to undo that, Command Z. You can click over here at the bottom where it says the double Y's, and it'll show you this is the original version and this is what you've changed. So because sometimes it's hard to remember, but when you see them side by side, you can see the difference and see if it's better this way.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the original way of seeing it. Another cool thing that you can do in Lightroom is then say I've done a bunch of edits on this. Maybe I've like changed the temperature, done some things that are noticeable. Okay, so now maybe I like these edits. I can go to another photo that's kind of similar. So I'm going to click down here. It's kind of going slow for some reason, probably because it's processing the video. There we go. Now I can just hit the previous button and it'll take all of those settings I just did on the other photo and apply them to this one. without me having to go through and do all of that again. So if you have a lot of photos in the same lighting situation, you can apply the same corrections. Pretty easy. Okay, so that one I like. I might rate that a number 2 so I can sort for number 2s later. You can add a vignette. So I can go down here, make the edges a little bit darker so it draws your eye in towards the center. You can feather it. And stop me at any time if you have questions. Let's see. You also have presets. So I could just kind of scroll through here and see what presets I have. There's a lot of creative ones. There's some black and white ones. So again, you just kind of like scroll through. I like Punch a lot, especially for this photo shoot because it was meant to be dirty, grungy, high contrast, very dramatic looking. Uh-oh. I guess that's okay. All right, let's see. So now I might have to come and lighten it a little bit. Ooh, sometimes I like lowering the whites all the way and increasing the shadows. So I'm going to lower the whites. And this gives it like a really pop look. Increase the blacks. Increase the contrast. See if it's working. Maybe a little less on the blacks. And then increase the clarity all the way. And it just really like makes the details stand out, like those edges. And you can see on her face, there's just not a lot of imperfections. Which there aren't anyway. It's my friend Nikki, she's a model. She's really good at it. Let's see, we did something with a couple other characters too. We were trying to make this look like scenes from a movie. So you can kind of see the difference between the before and after. So I warmed it a lot. This was the before, and then this is after adding that kind of like movie look with just warming filters, vignettes, some high contrast, that kind of thing. And let's see, there's some fight scenes. What do we have? Them just walking. Here we have this guy, Zach, looking happy. Again, I would start just by adding, like pressing auto, just to see what it would do. And I've already exported all these photos, so I'm probably never honestly going to use these exact files again. I have them somewhere else, so I can change them and do what I want with them. Okay, you can increase saturation a little bit. That gives it really a warm tone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's just all kinds of stuff that you can change. I wanted to show you the spot retouching. Let's see if there's a place where we might need that. Maybe we'll just do, so there's a different program that one of my friends just showed me, like I said, about adjusting faces, but I don't have that one yet. So this is the way I do it. I tend to use this adjustment brush right up here at the top. And if you just paint the area that you want to adjust, you can brighten the face, you can increase the contrast on just the face. You can even see it just affecting this one area. Yeah, so you can like darken that or brighten it or increase just the highlights on just the face and decrease the shadows so that you can really maybe see the contrast. Maybe increase the saturation a little bit. Ooh, this is another way to do color accent. So you can do it in Photoshop pretty easily, but in Lightroom, if I wanted to say, make everything else black and white, this might not be the easiest way to do that. Let's do one with a less of a background. So I'd make the background, I'd use that adjustment brush to select the whole background and then make it black and white. So, ooh, maybe one of these dancing pictures. So I had them pretend to dance. I mean, they were really dancing, but took pictures of it. This one's kind of cool. So if I want the whole background to be black and white except for them, one way to do it might be to take this adjustment brush and increase the size. And then just paint the background. And it's gonna, I like it looking a little brighter right now, just so I can tell where I've already painted, and then I can always turn that down later. So I want the whole background to be black and white, no saturation at all. And I apologize that it's taking so long. I think my computer's processing because I hear lots of noise coming from my computer. Okay, so I'm gonna do a really bad job of this just to show you what it does. So then this highlighted menu are all the things you can change about the area you just painted. So, and then that ends right here. So I'm going to decrease the saturation and you can see what happens to the background, like the grass goes away. And I might just need to paint it a little bit more. Let's see. It must have, it's frozen. I think it has an opacity thing on it, so. Come on. There we go. There we go. Whoa, all the way up. So there it goes. So the more I paint, the more black and white it will be. Okay, so I've kind of accidentally made them black and white too. But now, if I click done, I can like make them stand out a little bit better. Okay, so that's basically the adjustment brush. I didn't do a perfect job, but that's okay. If I want the top part of this photo to be darker, to really draw attention to them, right here is the gradient mask. And if I lower the exposure, I can drag that and just affect the top. Now it looks a little low contrast for some reason. I think the blacks need to be a little darker. Woo. There we go.
Was this taken at Creve Park?
They were, yeah. That's right by my house. So I still have to drive there, but I like doing that loop a lot. Do you go there? Oh yeah, because you do the rowing.
Yeah, like I don't know. I've never seen it from this perspective. I'm usually like on the lake, but like
I've been on the lake, but I've never been there.
Oh, it's so cool. And we didn't even go very far. We kept finding things. We were like, walk 5 feet. We're like, oh, here's another cool background. We did not make it very far at all. Plus, when you have like 3 really creative people all together, 3 or 4, it's gonna, you're gonna have lots of ideas. Okay, and then you could add a vignette on top of that. Maybe darken it a little. Whoa. So this just simulates like actually a lens error when there's like light leaks and the lens kind of blocks part of the light coming in. That's what this is simulating, because sometimes that looks cool. Here's the black and white version that I did. So I pressed one of these preset buttons and then I just increased the contrast a little bit. I like that one. Okay, do you guys have any questions?
Is that in the same pack? Is it in the suite or?
This is part of the Adobe suite. So you have Lightroom on your computer. You just have to type it in, like go to the little search, the magnifying glass, then type in Lightroom and just play with it. Like I said, everything is right here. That's what I love about this. You just scroll down and see what it can do. And I just think it's way more user-friendly. So then when you want to export these photos, say I like this one that I edited, and then I wanted to bring out a couple more, so I'm going to hold Command.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, isn't that cool? All the textures. I'm going to hold Command and select more than one. This one's kind of demented looking. It's kind of what we were going for. We're like, post-apocalypse, they can look a little scary. Okay, and then once I have those selected, I go up to File. Oop, there we go. And Export. Can you guys see this menu?
Yeah.
There's some menus that don't show up. So I would put it in a folder on the desktop. So put in subfolder and then just call it something. I would just say sample for this, because I already have these photos. And then put the quality all the way to 100, and then the resolution you could do 400 pixels per inch, 300, any of those would work. I wouldn't do much less than 200 because then the pixels will show when you put them online. They'll be like really big, and like if you zoom in on her face or something, you would see all the pixels. So I like using 800 resolution just because I do a lot of work for clients, so they need really large versions that you can blow up really big, but 400 is plenty. And then you click export. So then that'll do its thing, and you can come back to these at any time because there is a library menu up at the top. Oh, I'm trying, yeah, there it goes. And then that's where you can go and like find all of the menus of different photos that you've imported. It's just kind of slow. Spinning wheel of death, there we go. There it goes. Okay, so these are all out of my camera projects. There's about 6,000 photos. These are all different photos or sessions that I've done. And it just stays here. These were from like years ago, so they all stay in one place. It's easy to navigate and find all of your different projects. Okay, any other questions? I know what time it is. Oh boy, we have 2 minutes. Look at that timing. That was pretty good. All right. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, I think that's it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll see you next time.
I just want to thank you.
Bye.